They told you it was chemistry. That spark, that rush, that feeling you can't shake when you see someone. But what if I told you it's not just chemistry? What if Carl Jung would look you in the eye and say, it's not magic, it's your shadow. Let's get real. Sexual attraction isn't just about love or physical connection. It's a psychological explosion, a mirror reflecting your deepest wounds, not just your desires. When you're drawn to someone so intensely that you feel powerless, that's not love. That's projection. Jung believed that inside each of us lives an unconscious opposite the anima in men, the animus in women. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're powerful forces representing the parts of ourselves we've denied, suppressed, or never developed. And here's the wild part. When you meet someone who reflects your inner anima or animus, your whole psyche lights up. You don't fall in love with them, you fall in love with the part of yourself you've never met. This is why sexual attraction can feel so irrational. You know the person might be unavailable, even toxic, but the pull is stronger than logic. You feel addicted, haunted, spellbound. It's because your unconscious mistakes them for completion. You're not falling for them, you're falling for your own missing piece. Now, imagine what this means in a world where seduction is everywhere, where people, knowingly or not, learn to mirror your deepest fantasies. Some women discover that the way to dominate a man isn't through force, but by reflecting his unconscious desires. If a man has never faced his anima, asked why do I crave what I crave, he's not choosing. He's being chosen by his wound. And if she knows how to play that role, he'll surrender. He'll call it love. But it's just projection. She isn't the one. She's a mirror. Jung said something chilling. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. But when attraction is driven by the shadow, the transformation isn't always healthy. It can be obsessive, destructive. It can reduce you to nothing but your desire. Here's the darkest truth. You're not always drawn to who is good for you. You're drawn to who completes your internal story, and sometimes your story is a tragedy. Maybe you're a man who never felt seen by his mother. So when you meet a woman who is emotionally cold, who gives love only when you chase her, you feel alive. You think, this is it. But what you're really doing is trying to rewrite the past to win a battle you lost in childhood. This is the compulsion of sexual trauma. Not always from physical abuse, but from emotional patterns that were never healed. The woman becomes your battlefield. You try to earn what should have been freely given, and when she denies it, it hurts more. So you desire her more. Now flip the mirror. There are women who aren't seeking love but power. They don't want to be loved. They want to be chased, worshipped, obsessed over. They weaponize their sexuality, not out of evil, but out of pain. Their shadow was never shown safe affection, so now it seeks dominance through desire. When a man falls at her feet, she feels alive until he asks for real intimacy. Then she runs, because the moment it becomes real, the illusion dies. Sexual attraction isn't always about connection. Sometimes it's a psychological trap where your deepest unmet needs disguise themselves as romantic longing. Jung didn't say this to make you afraid of desire. He said it to make you conscious of it. To ask, who does my soul reach for when my mind is asleep? Who do I crave? And why? Because if you never answer that question, you'll keep choosing the same person in 100 different bodies. You'll call it fate. But it's just your shadow pulling the strings. Here's a truth few can handle. Sometimes. The person you desire most is the exact person sent to destroy you. Not because they're evil, but because your unconscious wants to recreate your original wound, hoping this time you'll survive it. That's not love. That's karma. And karma isn't punishment, it's repetition until you learn. The darkness isn't in the other person. It's in you. It's in what you project, what you chase, and what you run from. Sexual attraction can be holy, but only when you see the demon behind the curtain. Only when you ask, is this love? Or am I trying to finish an unfinished story? You think you're in control? That you're choosing who to flirt with, who to date, who to chase. But what if every move you make in your love life isn't really made by you? Jung warned, the unconscious mind is always active. And the most dangerous part? You don't even know when it's choosing for you. Let me give you a real story. There was a man, successful, respected, emotionally intelligent, but every time he fell in love, it was with a woman who emotionally rejected him. One left him for someone else. Another ghosted him after intense intimacy. Another mocked him when he showed vulnerability. Different women, same story. Logically, he knew these women weren't right for him. He even warned his friends. But he kept going back. Why? Because his unconscious wasn't trying to find love. It was trying to resolve pain. He grew up with a distant, cold mother, a woman who made him feel invisible. So now, as an adult, his psyche is constantly seeking that same feeling, hoping to fix it this time. He's not chasing women. He's chasing his mother's ghost. This is how sexual attraction becomes a psychological loop. You're not addicted to the person. You're addicted to the wound they represent, to the hope of finally winning, finally healing, and that's the trap Jung tried to warn us about. Sexual energy is one of the most powerful forces in the human psyche. It's not just about pleasure. It's tied to identity, safety, power, validation. And when that energy mixes with your deepest emotional pain, it becomes magnetic, explosive, but also dangerous. Let's talk about women now. There are women who are drawn again and again to emotionally unavailable men who are charming, dominant but cold, detached, even cruel. They say, "Why am I only attracted to men who hurt me?" Or "I lose interest when a guy is too nice." It's not a flaw in your personality. It's a sign of emotional programming. Many of these women were taught directly or indirectly that love must be earned. That being ignored means you need to try harder. That rejection is a challenge. So the moment a man shows indifference, the attraction spikes. Why? Because the unconscious says, there it is. The familiar pain. Let's try to fix it this time. And if that man knows how to use this dynamic, he becomes her obsession. That's not love. That's inner chaos looking for a savior, but it doesn't stop there. There are women, yes, modern women, who weaponize this truth. They realize that sexuality can control a man more than logic ever could. Not because they're evil, but because it works. They learn that withholding emotional availability, but offering intense physical seduction, creates a hookah bond stronger than most men can break. They become the fantasy, not the real woman. And the more the man chases her, the more powerful she feels. It's psychological domination disguised as romance. Jung would call this a projection trap. The man doesn't love her. He loves what she represents as missing half. But here's where it gets horrifying. She doesn't love him either. She loves the control. She loves seeing him lose himself, because it gives her back something she lost long ago. Power, safety, or even revenge. This is the darkest corner of sexual attraction, where two people aren't meeting with open hearts, but with broken mirrors. Where intimacy isn't real, it's performance. Where both sides are using the other to fix something from the past, and the more intense it feels, the more dangerous it becomes. Because if you don't know your shadow, it will use attraction to drag you into hell with a smile on its face. Jung didn't say this to scare you away from relationships. He said it because real love cannot exist without awareness. You have to look at the people you're drawn to and ask uncomfortable questions. What do they remind me of from my past? Do I feel safe with them or just addicted? Am I myself around them or a version they seem to want? Because here's the truth. Attraction is not always a sign of compatibility. Sometimes it's a warning, a signal that your psyche is trying to finish a story, not start a new one. That's why people often say, "Why do I always fall for the same type?" Or "I knew they were bad for me, but I couldn't stop." The answer isn't found in logic. It's in the unconscious. Jung's theory of individuation teaches us that we must integrate all parts of ourselves, the anima, the animus, the shadow, before we can truly choose. Otherwise, we are just puppets. Desire pulls the strings, and we call it fate. So if you keep chasing unavailable women, emotionally manipulative men, or chaotic lust-driven relationships. You have to stop and ask, what part of me is choosing this? And why does it feel like home? Until you answer that, you'll keep waking up in the same emotional nightmare, just with a different face beside you. Because the truth is, we are not attracted to people. We are attracted to emotions we've never resolved. And in that chaos, love becomes a battlefield. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And if you're still carrying wounds you never healed, they will speak louder than your words, louder than your values, louder than your logic. This is the darkest truth about sexual attraction. It's not about finding the right person. It's about discovering what your pain desires. Let that sink in. Most people believe they're falling in love with someone's qualities, their eyes, their voice, their energy. But what if you're really falling in love with their pattern? The pattern that mirrors